Welcome back to Man Across New Horizons. I'm Dear Darling. I shall see what's going on a lovely island of Fawnhollow today. A little bit of a later recording than usual. No, it wasn't meant to be this much later. I was meant to do it before, but then I was like, hold on, I forgot I need to book a GP appointment. Wait, hold on, I forgot I need to reply to this friend who was asking me a maths question, and that took a little bit of time. But I was like, wait, hold on. Then I don't know, I did something else. I don't remember what the other thing I did was, but there's something. But you know. Sometimes you do things, you just get a little bit delayed, and you get a little bit delayed, and you're just like, I'll do it after this, and then it's like, didn't record an Animal Crossing video today, so here we are, I suppose. Anyway, hello there everyone. Right now in Fawnhallow, it's 5:38 PM on Thursday, January 13, 2022. Okay, so this is Gulliver, passed out on the beach. I don't really have much to talk about, I suppose, you know. The maths question wasn't, the GP appointment's not particularly interesting. The maths question isn't all that particularly interesting. It was in fact like, it was one, you know, because he asked me like earlier in the day, being like, can you help me with this? And I was like, yeah, sure, I'll have a look at it later. And then I looked at it now and I was like, it's actually like way easier than you think it is. I think you're oversending it. Yeah, not oversending it, overthinking it. Have we got this letter? I'm not sure if we got that letter before, so I'm going to keep it. And you know, that's a case of a lot of maths problems, especially, you know, I can certainly speak from experience that you tend to sort of overthink things quite a lot. You know, you look at things and, you know, if you don't see the solution, or you're like, what? And then it becomes a panic in where you just basically throw sort of like everything you've learnt at maths at it, being like, do I add everything together? Do I use this new like thing? Did I try and force it into an equation that I've done before? I mean, you try and look at previous examples and being like, these previous examples aren't really the same sort of situation. I don't think this will work. And then you just get confused and and sometimes you just end up asking someone else, and the other person is like, you're kind of overthinking it. Just like, you know, take a breather, take a step back, think of it a bit more, sort of simplify the situation if you can. Whoa, I don't want to use a Nookmar ticket. Whoa. What am I using a Nookmar ticket for? Why do we even have a Nookmar ticket? That was meant to be Halves Island, but apparently we actually got stuff in our inventory, so... Yeah, I mean, it's just very classic, math sort of thing. These questions here are actually kind of weird, if anything. I'm not sure entirely what their purpose was, and I assume it's much more like introductory things to like linear algebra, which is what they are. If so, that would make sense. And you know, these are sort of things just to check that you really sort of understand the concepts which are going on. Because I looked at it and being like, you know, at first glance I thought it was going to be like a complicated thing. I didn't really actually read the questions. I just looked at it, being like, it's got like Cartesian equations in it, or whatever. It's linear algebra. I'm going to do this later because I don't want to think about it right now. It's just literally exactly the same stuff as you had yesterday. You know what, Red? You kind of suck at giving me things which are actually useful. You know what? I'm just going to say it how it is, Red. You know? You've given me, ever since you moved into Halves Island, you've given me a total of 1 legitimate painting I think I could donate. Maybe 2. Let's not undersell yourself there, but still, like, it's been rather disappointing, Red, and you know, I expect better from you. Tremendous statue. Which one's a tremendous statue? I'm not sure which one the tremendous statue is. I don't think it's one of them we need. I've got my notepad open. I can just look. No, it's not one we need. Okay. Yeah, what else I was gonna say? Yeah, it was just a bit. And then I looked at the question. You know, I was like, after I was like booking a GP appointment, and I was just like sort of on the phone. You know, being on hold. I just like looked at the problem and I was like, this actually like. These are like immediate questions. It's a question. It's a very tricky thing in maths where they always just like they try and obscure like, well, okay, this didn't happen all the time, but sometimes like the idea could be obscured between like concepts. Like this is a question where it would have been like trivially simple, I think, if it was only in 3 dimensions. But the thing is, the question gave it in 6 dimensions. Well, it turns out those other 3 dimensions don't really do anything. So effectively, you might as well just sort of think of it in 3 dimensions anyway. Well, that is provided I got the question right. I might have got the question wrong, and I might have misunderstood the question, so I just sort of looked at it and went, okay, you can definitely do this. It's way simpler than you think of it, and you know, it's like type out some things. Now they understand it now, so it's all good, and we can move on from that. But then I ended up being a bit later than expected when I was recording this episode. I just remembered something else I need to do. Okay, I'm going to put this little piece of paper here in front of my keyboard to make sure I remember to do this after I finish recording this episode. But yeah, one shot That it's not come up yet. Oh, the thumbnail art's come up yet. Let's see if people got some nice reactions to that. I haven't actually looked at my comments in ages. I should probably use. No, oh no, I have actually replied to them. Kind of looked at them recently. I should probably try and reply to them. I've not got that big a backlog. You know, the one-shot thumbnail art time lapse has come out. It's alright. It's alright one. You know, I don't hate it. But I'm also I don't look at it and be like, wow, this is like the best thing I've ever done. It's just nice. There's not really much else to it, which was the thumbnail, the art time lapse I rendered yesterday night, actually. Luckily, it didn't take that long. And then the first episode I rendered this morning, and I rendered it this morning because as it turned out, oh yeah, versus Vivian. I thought Gardevoir washed up over here, and I actually thought I lost my mind. I was like, how did this happen? Hold on, we need to go to our Nook terminal to actually get our daily login bonus. Yeah, the game says, I think I talked about this yesterday, the game says your real name in the thing, and I'm just like, okay, it's not really that big a deal if people know my real name, but I feel like the less personal information I can give out, the better. Like, I don't really care if, like, the general populace knows if I have, like, dislocated my shoulder before. It doesn't really bother me, but, you know, knowing my name, you know, knowing where I live, of course, or in a general vicinity of where I live, knowing, like, all that personal information about me, I'm kind of like, no thanks. I'm going to give you things which are not identifying information, hopefully. You know, like, stuff like, you know, my favourite. Like, you might find it ironic the fact I've made, like, 600 episodes all talking kind of about me, that you'd be like, oh, so you're kind of worried about people knowing your name. It's not like I'm worried about people knowing my name. I just, like, I'd rather not. I'd rather people don't know my name compared to know my name. It's not like I hate my name. My name's great. It's a fantastic name. But it's more like, I suppose whenever you know, these internet things, the more paranoid part of me is always like, the less information you can give out about yourself, probably the better. In this sort of aspect. And some information doesn't really matter, you know, like the fact I love playing Animal Crossing, or the fact I love puzzle games, the favourite animal is a deer, you know, other things like that's like, those aren't really like much of identifying information, which is weirdly ironic in a way, you know, the more I think about it. With like privacy concerns and that sort of thing. Like, why is it like giving out my name feels so much weirder than just like me talking about a story I had from like primary school, like about a time when I don't know, I was like on a school trip and I had to get sent home early because I dislocated my shoulder, or that sort of thing. Like, that is sort of just like a story that could happen to anyone. Like, before, you know, I suppose I could be making up, and like my actual name is a bit iffy. I mean, I'm sure at some point my name will get out, and you know, information about me might get leaked. Hopefully not. I'll be particularly honest, but you know, I do try to be kind of careful about these things, and not let it sit. But you know, some people just like. It's the sort of thing I always think about, where like, if someone really, really, really wanted to, they could just like find out all your personal information, right? Like, that's kind of scary. So this is a bit of a negative episode, which I didn't really mean to go down this sort of path, but like, if there's like, if you somehow got on the wrong side of a load of like, what have we got, like black-hatted hackers or whatever, the ones which hack for much more nefarious purposes, they could target you and like, you know, exploit whatever sort of like security vulnerabilities you have and whatever you have, because most of us aren't cybersecurity experts or anything. We're going to have a slip in the armour somewhere, which eventually, you know, a very experienced hacker will probably find and then exploit. If someone really wanted to, they could, and that's kind of terrifying. But you know, I'm working on the principle that most people are just, you know, kind of like decent people. But you never know. You never know. I suppose it's a general rule of thumb. It's better to be safe than sorry, you know. So yeah, I had to edit that video. The edit's fine. I mean, if I didn't edit it well enough and it ends up being that like my name actually comes out, you know, I probably should have actually checked it for YouTube video. So this is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to proof check my YouTube video. I'm going to mute it so you don't have to listen to it. I'm just going to check the moment where like my name is being said, and hopefully it won't be found. Well, I also I had to edit this video anyway, because I had to edit in borders, because I didn't realise when I was recording it at the time, or when I was going to start recording it, that it was like in a black box. Sorry, black box. In a square little box, which is a little bit like a... Oh yeah, I forgot this is what we were doing. A square little box, which is a little bit boring, I suppose. So like Lacquer style, I decided to put some things around it. Just looking over. So I'm just like glancing over my other screen. I'm going to put it on this screen so I can actually look at it properly now. Oh, we need to do more deep sea diving. Fruits. Grow fruit tree, water things. Okay. One Shot's a very nice game right now. I don't really know what to expect because I've only recorded one episode of it. So there could be a lot more to it than I particularly know so far. It just seems like a quaint little game. I don't really know what's going on. It's got some sort of meta elements to it, but that's about it. It just seems like I'm not sure, not really sure what to expect. I don't really know what to talk about. Like the only thing that's going on through my head right now is sort of just like a though we will talk about Bruno or songs from Encanto. That's how much of an effect Encanto's had on me. What, you know, just check this YouTube video. You know what I should do? I should watch it in playback in very slow speed just to make sure that you can't actually see my name in it. Kimi no Na wa, you know. Oh, should we talk about mine? Kimi no Na wa, fantastic movie, by the way. If you don't know, it's a Japanese movie, and the title translates to Your Name. And it's basically about a teenage boy and a teenage girl and them basically experiencing each other's lives. It's kind of like a Freaky Friday sort of situation, I suppose. Let's skip through. And just check that I edited this properly. If I didn't, whoops. Looks like I did. I suppose we can go frame by frame if we particularly wanted. Because there's that option, if you don't know. And there is that option on YouTube. If you can press the full stop button and the comma, and you'll go through frame by frame. So that's what we're doing right now. I'm going frame by frame. I already did it frame by frame on my editing software to check that my name didn't peek out or anything, but I almost feel like it's what's it called, like the reverse effect. Like the more you try and cover something up, the more it like gets out there, right? So I'm just here to prevent any sort of that sort of possibility. I probably said my name by accident, like sometime. Okay, you know, we'll get at this point. It came up 8 times, which is like a lot of editing to do, to be perfectly honest. Let's talk. Really, I shouldn't be doing this in the middle of recording an Animal Crossing episode, but here I am. So, what are you gonna do about it, huh? But this is what Animal Crossing time is for. That's to do with checking and double checking. You can never be too sure, you know. I am the sort of person who likes to check and double check, triple check if I particularly can. You know, I don't always triple and double check. Sometimes, you know, checking gets a little bit excessive, and even I get bored of checking things sometimes. Like, it's always a thing, especially when I was younger, when we were doing exams and that sort of thing. If you get done with exam early, you know, I had it very, very much drilled into me to make sure that at every opportunity, if I get the chance to check and double check, I, you know, always double check, triple check, etc, 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 just to make sure that I never miss anything out, never get a question wrong. And honestly, it's really boring, especially in an exam situation. Having to check things so many times, just checking you're not ill, Lenny, which you're not. Just going frame by frame. We're going frame by frame. A mushroom potage. Oh, you are crafting. Or you're cooking, I suppose. I believe we already know how to make this, though. And I would highly implore any of you who, if you're still doing like exams and that sort of thing, to, if you get the opportunity to, of course, in your exams, to check and double check, triple check, etc, etc, you absolutely should. Don't take that time, like a lot of my friends did, just sort of sit in there doing nothing. It's boring as heck, you know, checking and double checking and triple checking, but you might as well do it, because what else are you going to do? It's not like daydreaming during the exam time period really does much for you. I mean, and it's also like you can't really do anything else. It's not like you can bust out your phone. I suppose the situation is different. Is if it's in a sort of exam, you can leave early, but you know, those are not quite common, I think, in high school. Much more common in university, which you can do if you really want to, but at least in my university exams, I basically had no time spare to do anything. So this is my double and triple checking, and I already checked it quite a few times. I checked it after I rendered it, I've checked it while I was editing it, and now I'm checking it again, just to make sure that the YouTube rendering didn't do anything weird with it. But it seems to be alright so far, to be honest. As we run in here, we don't actually need to talk to you, Brewster, to get a cup of coffee. Because we've already got everything we need, coffee-wise. With Brewster, we already got the final brewski. So yeah, absolutely always double check, triple check exactly what you're doing. If exam, you're literally not doing anything else, that's what you should do. And sometimes, especially in the earlier maths exams, I suppose it's probably not going to be too big a surprise to you. I was pretty good at maths, and especially a lot of when you are good at maths, a lot of younger years sort of maths exams are very easy to you. And I don't mean that in a sense of bragging, be like, oh, look how good I am at maths and that sort of thing. It's just more like that was just like a consequence of what happened, because, you know, maths is very much what, actually, maybe it's true for any subject. If you're just good at it when you're younger, all of the younger, like, exams tend to be quite easy for it. For yourself. It's an important one. Does this fade away properly? This one you can actually see because the entire thing fades away, but I didn't make the text box fade away at the same time. So there's a little bit of an error on my part, but it has to be done because I need to have something blocking it out. And that is not my name. And I believe this one also fades in quite quickly. It's already there, in fact. Okay, perfect. So it certainly seems like I think you wouldn't even be able to tell unless you were properly looking for it, and if I didn't like talk about it while I was recording it. So there you go. So I had to do that in the middle of a YouTube video, but I'll be honest, I don't know how many people are actually watching these Animal Crossing videos anyway. Somehow they still get views, and somehow there's liking. When, you know, shout out to you if you're that person liking these videos. I'm doing this for you, you know. Well, okay, not just for you. It's mainly for me. I'm going to be honest. It's mainly for selfish, like, relaxation reasons. But, you know, the fact that people are actually there watching it, you know, it's empowering, I suppose, in certain aspects. It's like, oh yeah, you know, I'm glad people are enjoying it. Oh, hello, Amelia and Biscuit are here. Anyway, so I'm trying to think of how times I had to like double and triple check things. Like, I think of probably the things which stick in my most about double and triple checking is, of course, when I was much younger, I had to do a grade 5 theory exam because I used to, well, I mean, I still do play music sometimes, but not nearly as much as I used to back then. I had to take a grade 5 theory exam before I could do higher grades at piano. And that basically was just like a theory examination. You can look it up, you can see the sort of things are in it. It's not that exciting, but the thing is, they give you a long time to do it. And the grade 5 one is not that difficult. So it ended up with me being done with it very quickly, and even though I was, you know, quite a religious checker, I suppose, in that aspect, I checked it multiple times over and over and over again. I clearly, you know, me being younger, my checking was not all that great, I suppose. And what ended up happening was I actually ended up getting like an entire question just completely wrong, despite the fact I checked it multiple times, which is a great sort of source of embarrassment for what should be not. It's like, I'm not going to say it's not challenging. It is challenging, certainly, the music theory, like, exams. But, like, if you prepare well enough for it, it's not really that big a deal. And I just remember being in the exam, being so bored that, like, I checked it once, twice, 3 times. I've been so bored that for the rest of the time I just spent, like, sleeping, I suppose, rather than properly checking it. There was even like another kid who, it was a couple of years older than me, he was also doing the theory examination. We both looked at each other with a sort of expression being like, oh, we're both so bored, look how long we had to wait. Because they were also had like a load of, like, at the time, I'd imagine they must have been around sixth form, but to me they looked like 30-year-olds or something, but they probably weren't. They were probably like sixth form, or maybe university students who were doing grade 5 theory examination, as I understand it. They were just like hard at work doing stuff, you know. They probably understood the value of properly checking your work and that sort of thing. And, you know, it just always stuck with me. Just being like, you know, maybe if I like learned how to check properly, if I wasn't so like lazy and actually checked all the way through, I would have spotted that entire question, which I got wrong. And I wouldn't have got a 2 out of 10 on it, and I would have got out at least like a 9 or 8 out. 9 or 10 out of 10, because I know what probably happened. It probably was like, I think it was a question where you had to like write out the scale or something using incidentals without using a key signature, and I probably just misread what key I was meant to write it out in, and maybe it was like C, maybe it was like I don't know, E major, and I thought it said E minor or something, so, you know, I just got it all wrong entirely. Well, actually no, that wouldn't leave me with a 2 out of 10. So I don't know what happened, but something happened nonetheless, which was an embarrassing mistake. But if that happens, you know, you just got to be like, should have checked better. That's a sort of like what's the word? Not spirit necessarily, but like the sort of attitude I took, especially throughout to my high school. Oh, I forgot to put this down. Especially throughout to my high school exams, where I remember a physics teacher was like, we were going through like one of our like a mock exams, I suppose, for physics, and basically I got like 98% on it or something, and then I was still, you know, pretty good at it. Now you give me that that mission. I was still pretty good at physics and that sort of thing, but, you know, I only got like one thing wrong or whatever, but I basically made notes and annotations on every single question, even if I got it right, just labelling out like what the perfect sort of mark scheme answer would have been, and like how could I have made it better in that sort of aspect. I remember she pointed out, being like, hey dear, I used your exam paper as like an example to another student, who was also a family friend, by the way, another student from a class being like, hey, you should, well, I mean, I'll be honest, I don't particularly like being used as an example in this sort of aspect. It sort of like makes me feel a bit weird. But I still remember it as not necessarily being like used in an example sense, but being like a sort of a teacher who also understood the importance of checking and triple checking and understanding about the strive to have improvement, I suppose, rather than focusing so much on the fact of being used as an example, like model student or whatever. But no, it's a sort of thing where like just like I was used as an example for that student, because they also, you know, got pretty high marks or whatever, but they sort of just like didn't pay attention, and we were going through and being like, hey, you should be like, you know, she's taking all these annotations, all these notes, that even when she got like such a high mark or whatever, she's seeing how she can get it even higher or make sure that it's even better as next time. And I suppose it's more of the emphasis of it was an self-improvement rather than necessarily improvement for the sake of the exam. And you know, it's a thing I remember still to this day, because I'm just like, yeah, you know, I guess that kind of is why I was doing it this entire time. It's not only double checking, triple checking just to make sure I get the highest result in the exam, because, you know, I do want to get, of course, a high result in the exam, but it's more important that I actually understand what I'm talking about, you know, like conceptually as a person. It'd be a shame to do all this studying and then not, like, understand what I was talking about, I suppose, in the end. I'm not really sure where to put this more AE, I'm going to be perfectly honest. Maybe we can have it sort of like peeking out behind this hedge. We're kind of running out of room, I'm going to be honest. I guess we could put the eel over here. Put all the eel family together. Something like that. It is an absolute mess over here now. Just tons and tons of fishes. We really need to put some more things down to amp up this sort of fishy area. It'd be nice if we could put down like seaweed or things like that to make it actually look like a fish zone. But, you know, it's alright. So yeah, always double check, triple check. And especially when it comes to things like safety and that sort of aspect. Like, exams is one thing, you know. If you get something wrong in an exam, it's not going to probably like be the end of your world. But if you're like someone who's like a safety commissioner, or anyone who needs to particularly pay a lot of attention to safety in that regard, like they need to check and triple check, I don't know, that everything has been installed correctly, that everything's going to be safe to use, and the safety measures are in place, you always double check and triple check. And then you get someone else to double check for you, because you know, you're playing around with people's, like, if not their lives, at least their injuries and that sort of thing, you know. I forgot what we're doing. Why did I run over here? We're doing nuclear mission farming, but I can't remember what I was doing. Oh, I wanted to cook up a storm, okay. I've also noticed that the sugar canes did not grow back as free, so it is actually dependent on how much you water them, I assume. Because I did not water them much, I believe, last time I created this, and I think 6 should be enough. We should eventually at some point actually make a farm, and I'll be honest, I can't really be bothered to do much customization anymore in Animal Crossing. Maybe at some point I'll get like a huge sort of spur and be like, well, okay, I've got some fantastic ideas, but nowadays I'm just kind of like, my island's good enough. It's not perfect, like we still got like 1 empty quadrant, but you know, I mean, there's obviously stuff you can do, and I think what can you do is a bit like a dismissive idea, but you know, I'm happy with how it is right now. I don't need it to be any better. I know it can be a lot better, but just it's not worth the amount of like effort I had to do wrestling with Animal Crossing's customization, unless, if the exception is if they put the Happy Home Paradise customization thing and allow us to to do it somehow on our main island, I will go back to customizing my island, because that is so much better than having to manually put everything down like we have to currently. Happy Hour in Paradise spoilt me. It showed me exactly what like a good customization system should be like. And you would have thought there would be like some sort of extreme endgame thing where we can, in fact, simply just where we can simply just use like the Happy Hour in Paradise customization aspect of it and just like easily put down furniture items, etc., etc. You would have thought that would be a thing, but you know, maybe you could buy it from the Nook Mile terminal for like 20,000 Nook Mile points or something, because you know that's quite a lot, 20,000. I'll be perfectly honest, but the fact it doesn't currently exist. I know it exists inside the homes, but the fact you've got it outside the homes as well. Why can't you allow us to do it like acre by acre or something? I mean, you split up this entire island in acres. Why not just be like, if we open it up while being on our island, it would just like be like, oh, you can customize this 1 acre just like you customize the outsides of other houses. Would be nice. You might be like, oh, but you can put an infinite amount of things down in Happy Hour in Paradise. True. Why don't, okay, instead of just having infinite things down, you have to just use things from your inventory and or storage. I don't know. Just please put it in. Customization is so annoying otherwise in Happy Hour in New Horizons. To be fair, not everyone finds it annoying. If you find it relaxing, more power to you, but it's gotten to the point where I find it kind of annoying and would rather do something else, like just like draw something instead. But if you don't want to, by all means, carry on doing you. This is only, of course, my opinion, and my opinion is only a small drop in the ocean of opinions that are in the world out there. So yeah, double checking, triple checking. It's like that wood carpenter's like quote or whatever. It's like, you know, measure twice, cut once, or something. You know, amount of times. I always feel like the world is out to humble you. As soon as you're just like, oh, I'm a bit lazy to, you know, like double check this or triple check this, or whatever, I'll just do it. You know, as is. That's always a time when you find out there's something wrong. You know, you got something wrong in some sort of category. You know, maybe there's a typo. Maybe you actually forgot to do something, maybe not necessarily kind of important, but like mildly important. You're just like, oh. It's always as soon as you just like let the laziness slip just a little bit, just for 1 second. That's when it catches up to you, and the world will humble you at that very moment. I'm collecting a load of coconuts right now because I want to sell stuff to get 5,000 bells. You know what we should do? We should do the customization of the tools first, just in case we do the customization, then we get the sell fruits mission again. I don't think we will, because I think it has to cycle through everything first, if I recall. At some point we're going to get a Fawn amiibo card. At some point. I promise you that on my... I don't know. I don't really have a speech lined up. I swear upon by this great nation of Fawnhollow, I will invite Fawn... Well, I don't know why I walked in here, but I guess we're customizing here. I will invite Fawnhollow as our final member to our island, and she will be welcomed, and she will complete everything and stuff like that. Basically, I want Fawn on my island to be the final dear darling that we need. No offense, tank or anything. It is such a shame that they put the... Oh. I was like, why is Isabella over there looking at me? She's just looking out the window. It is kind of a shame they put in the restriction that the most recently moved in member cannot leave the island, but whatever. You know, maybe we just don't do that mission. It's 29 minutes. Yeah, let's just round this episode off here. Oh, we should have done the exercises. Oh well. But anyway, we'll round off this episode here. So if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares are greatly appreciated. Join me, Dear Darling, Discord, follow me on Twitter down below. Hope you see each other again. But for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye bye for now.